Hey hotties, welcome back to the channel where we are on fire for the Lord. My name is Heykadesha. If you're new, then welcome. I'm so glad to have you tuning in today. So today we're going to be discussing Esther chapter 4 for the Bible Book Club. And it's basically going to be a discussion about why we shouldn't count ourselves out. So yeah, let's just get into it. So Esther chapter 4 verse 14 to me is a reminder to not let our view of ourselves detour us from the plan that God has in store for our lives, which is very easy to do. I've done it on multiple occasions. I'm still working on not leaning to my own understanding and leaning to the Lord's because he knows best. Esther chapter 4 verse 14 reads, "If you keep quiet at a time like this, deliverance and relief for the Jews will arise from some other place. But you and your relatives will die. Who knows if perhaps you were made queen for just a time as this." So that is one of my favorite scriptures throughout the entire Bible. I believe that it's natural for us to underestimate ourselves pertaining to the way that God views us. Not saying that we're all that and we deserve to be just boasting ourselves, because it's not within ourselves, but it's within the Christ that lives within us. Like, I can do anything, not because of myself, not because of Heykadesha, but because of Jesus Christ. Like, when we really take a moment to think about the fact that God cares so much for all the wild animals, he's going to make sure that they're taken care of and that they fulfill their purpose in this earth. Why would he not do the same for us as his children? Like, that is such a high place to be. Like, if you really think about it, we are the children of the creator of the universe, and he acknowledges us. He's always thinking about us. He's always wanting to spend time with us, and I personally just believe that that's so beautiful. But as I said, it's easy for us to get caught up at times in who we see ourselves to be. It can be based on our environment or even things we've fallen short of in the past. But we must remember, when we come to Christ, we become a new creation. And we can conquer everything that God sets before us, not because of ourselves, but because of Christ working through us. And at chapter 3, I spoke about our authority that we hold as children of God, and we can't truly understand that until we acknowledge who God has called us to be, like the things that he's set in stone for us to do and fulfill in this earth. Because once we understand our authority, we understand that God created us for a specific purpose, then it becomes easier to not think about where you will fall short, or to not think about your, the places where you don't amount to what it is that God is calling you to do. Because where we see flaws, God sees potential. And that is one thing I'm so grateful for. Because if God saw me the way that I see me, I would not be sitting here today speaking to you all about it. Like, that's just the truth. Like, I would be gone. I would not be here. So I'm just truly grateful for that. A little later in the chapter, Esther speaks of fasting and praying. And so I believe that this is something very important for us to touch on. Praying and fasting is so important. And I have seasons where I'm good, and then I have seasons where I fall off. And I'm working on just becoming more consistent, regardless of what is going on in my life or what emotions I'm feeling. Like I said last video, submit our emotions unto Christ. But regardless of what I'm feeling, to still go forth and fast, still go forth in prayer. A lot of people have in their mind that you have to pray like, "Oh Lord Jesus," and don't get me wrong, there's times where I war in the spirit like that, but most of my prayers with God is literally like just having a conversation. Like, the same way I'm talking to the camera, it's the same way that I speak to God, because it's a relationship. It's not a show. Like, I'm not going to perform and to show God that I know how to pray. Like, no, he already knows. It's about truly being vulnerable and open with him. Esther 4:16 reads, "Go and gather together all the Jews of Susa and fast for me. Do not eat or drink for 3 days, night or day. My maids and I will do the same. And then, though it is against the law, I will go in and see the king. If I must die, I must die." So Jesus also spoke of the importance of fasting and praying. When Jesus casted the demons out of the young boy in Matthew chapter 17, verse 21, he speaks of how prayer and fasting is the only way to cast out those demons. And it reads, and this is in the King James Version. I don't really like this version because it doesn't speak the way that we speak, but I'm gonna give it a try. "Howbeit this kind goeth not out by," oh my goodness, see? Like, how do I even get my mouth to say those words? Okay, let's go again. "Howbeit this kind goeth not out, but by prayer and fasting." And so they I'm still tongue-tied. Okay, so as I was trying to say, that verse is basically just saying that the only way to cast out those demons is by prayer and fasting, because his disciples had previously tried to heal the boy by God's power and they were unable to. So that's why Jesus let them know, like, for one, your faith gotta be there. That's another thing. But then two, praying and fasting. It's so important for us to deny our flesh. I know at times it can be hard to deny our flesh, but God has left us instructions for a reason. Prayer and fasting are two vital elements to walking with God. Even though Esther was afraid, she still chose to be obedient to the will of God, as should we. So in closing, a vital thing to remember is not to count ourselves out for the purpose that God has already destined us for. And secondly, you have to put in the work, the spiritual work. Praying and fasting is so important. It's so crucial. It's so vital. And I've experienced with myself times when I am praying and fasting regularly, and then when I'm not. Like, it's like radio is silent when I'm not praying and fasting, like in the spirit realm. It's so important for us to stay on our post and continue staying in our word and praying and fasting, because just as someone can grow closer to God, you can also grow further away from God. So I don't want to scare anyone or discourage anyone, but just to be truthful with you. Everything that God has led me to speak about on this channel has been something that he's already dealt with me personally. So yeah, thank God for opening my eyes and using me to help others. That's gonna be all for today. I'm not gonna just sit here and ramble, because I can. But thank you so much for tuning in. I pray that everyone has a blessed day. Pray that you are able to apply these things that we've spoken about to your everyday life and truly begin to see God's hand in your life. Thanks again for tuning in. God bless you. Bye.